All right, so today we're diving into something pretty intense, a Reddit post.
Oh.
Yeah, about a guy whose girlfriend is battling like a super severe case of influenza.
Oh, wow.
It's a wild story, really terrifying,
Hmm.
but also like super inspiring, full of twists and turns, and a whole lot of medical jargon.
Yeah, and you know what's fascinating about this one is that it's not just a personal story, right? It kind of taps into this big trend.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, where you see these online communities, especially ones focused on health, becoming like these crucial support systems.
Makes sense.
People are facing these crazy medical crises and they're finding solace and advice, even practical tips from other people who've actually been there.
It's like crowdsourcing empathy.
Totally, and expertise, right?
Exactly.
And in this case, the boyfriend is clearly like leaning on that Reddit community for support, big time.
Yeah, it seems like it starts off as just a normal cold, but then
Oh, yeah.
things escalate super quickly.
Oh, wow.
Her asthma makes her breathing even harder, and she ends up in the ICU
Oh, God.
on a ventilator and then
And
in
then,
a medically induced coma.
yeah, so that decision to induce a coma, it might seem extreme at first,
Oh, for sure.
but it's actually a really strategic move by doctors in these critical situations.
I see.
It's not about giving up, it's about like giving the body a fighting chance.
Yeah,
You see, breathing takes a ton of energy, especially when the lungs are already struggling.
right.
So by putting the patient in a coma, they can basically hit pause on that whole breathing thing and let the body direct all its resources to fighting that infection.
It's like hitting reset on the body's energy expenditure,
Exactly.
so it can focus on healing.
Exactly.
So then the boyfriend mentions the doctors had to paralyze her as well,
Right.
which honestly sounds terrifying.
Yeah, I can see why you'd say that.
What's the reasoning there?
So that's a super crucial part of the whole process.
Oh, yeah.
Even when a patient is on a ventilator, even in a coma, their body might still try to fight against the machine.
Really?
Yeah, which can cause even more complications. So, by using paralytics, doctors can make sure the patient's breathing is totally controlled by the ventilator,
Okay.
giving the lungs the best possible chance to recover.
So it's all about creating the optimal environment for the body to heal.
Exactly.
And you can tell from the boyfriend's posts that he's feeling super overwhelmed and helpless.
Oh, yeah.
But the Reddit community really steps up, you know.
Yeah, it's amazing.
They offer advice, encouragement, and even suggest things like talking to her, reading to her, or playing music.
That's awesome.
Is there any science behind those suggestions?
You know, there's actually a growing amount of research on how the brain processes information even in an unconscious state.
Wow. So even.
So while we can't say for sure how much a coma patient actually comprehends,
Yeah.
studies have shown that familiar voices, music, even stories can stimulate brain activity.
Really?
Yeah, and potentially even aid in recovery.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's pretty incredible.
But even though she's not consciously responding, those interactions could still be having a positive impact.
That's the idea.
That's remarkable. And the boyfriend keeps everyone updated on his girlfriend's progress.
Mm.
And one of the things he focuses on is her oxygen saturation levels.
Yeah, he mentions the doctor is saying as long as it stays above 90%, she'll be okay.
Exactly. Can you break down like why that number is so crucial?
Yeah, so oxygen saturation is basically a measure of how much oxygen is actually reaching the body's tissues.
Okay.
Think of it like fuel for your cells.
Okay.
A level above 90% means that the lungs are effectively transferring oxygen from the air into the bloodstream.
Right.
And then that oxygen gets carried throughout the body, fueling all the vital organs and helping the body heal.
So not just about breathing.
Right.
It's about making sure that oxygen is reaching like every part of the body.
Exactly.
It's so fascinating how something as simple as that number can tell us so much about a patient's condition.
It really is.
And then we start seeing the weaning process begin.
So weaning is all about gradually reducing the level of support the patient's getting, allowing their body to slowly regain control of its functions. It starts with like reducing the ventilator strengths
Gotcha.
and then slowly phasing out the paralytic.
Okay.
Each step is taken really carefully with constant monitoring to make sure the patient's body is adapting.
Yeah.
Okay?
The boyfriend describes it as like a slow and delicate dance.
That's a great analogy.
I love that analogy.
It really captures the balance and precision required during this critical phase.
Exactly.
And it's important to remember that the medical team is constantly adjusting medications and ventilator settings throughout this whole process.
Wow.
It's like fine-tuning a complex machine
Right.
to make sure it's performing at its best.
It's amazing to see how resilient the human body can be.
It really is.
And in this case, As the sedation is reduced,
Yeah.
we get this glimmer of hope.
Oh, yeah.
Her eyes open for the first time.
Wow. What does that moment signify from a medical standpoint?
Well, it's a huge milestone.
For sure.
While it doesn't necessarily mean she's fully aware, it does indicate that her brain is starting to emerge from the coma.
Oh, okay.
This often coincides with increased brain activity
Okay.
and responsiveness to external stimuli.
So it's like the lights are coming back on?
Yeah, slowly but surely.
Slowly but surely.
And I can only imagine the wave of relief the boyfriend must have felt in that moment.
I bet.
But the story takes another turn.
Ah,
He mentions a new complication,
what's that?
dyskinesia.
So dyskinesia is a side effect that can happen with certain sedatives,
Okay,
particularly the ones they use in prolonged coma cases.
I see.
It's characterized by these involuntary, often jerky movements.
Oh, wow.
While it's usually temporary,
Okay.
it can be pretty distressing for both the patient and their loved ones.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the boyfriend describes it as incredibly unsettling,
Right.
especially on top of everything else they're going through.
And reading about his struggle to stay strong for her, hiding his tears under his mask,
Oh, gosh.
is heartbreaking. It's a powerful reminder that behind all the medical terms and procedures,
Mm-hmm.
there are real people grappling with these intense emotions.
You're absolutely right, and it highlights how important it is to recognize the emotional toll these situations take on caregivers.
For sure.
The constant worry, the fear of the unknown, the feeling of helplessness.
It's a lot.
It's a heavy burden to carry.
It makes you realize that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do for someone is simply be there.
Yeah,
Offer a listening ear, a shoulder to cry on.
and that's exactly what the boyfriend is doing, day in and day out.
He's a testament to the power of love and commitment.
Totally. And in the next part of our deep dive, we'll see how that unwavering support,
Okay.
combined with the expertise of the medical team, continues to guide them on this roller coaster journey towards recovery.
I can't wait.
It's going to be good.
It's amazing how even in the middle of like a medical crisis, there are these little glimmers of hope, you know?
yeah, absolutely.
Like picking up where we left off, it's day 11. And the boyfriend posts an update that's both like relieving and concerning.
Mm-hmm.
The breathing tube is finally out.
Great.
But now they're facing the full force of the dyskinesia.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, it's like a cruel twist, isn't it?
Right.
Just as one hurdle is cleared, another one pops up.
Yeah, and as you mentioned,
Yeah.
dyskinesia can manifest in a lot of different ways.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
In this case, it's affecting her tongue.
Oh, no.
It's causing it to protrude uncontrollably.
Oh, wow.
Could you imagine witnessing that?
In someone you love who's already been through so much.
I know, and the boyfriend's description is so raw
Yeah,
and heartbreaking.
I bet.
He doesn't sugarcoat it at all.
Good for him.
He talks about how she's battling the flu, pneumonia, a possible staph infection,
Oh, my gosh.
kidney failure, and now this dyskinesia on top of it all.
It's like one blow after another.
It really is. And that feeling of overwhelm.
Yeah.
It's something that so many caregivers experience.
They're trying to stay strong for their loved one,
Right.
but inside, they're dealing with their own fears and anxieties.
Exactly. The boyfriend talks about crying under his mask,
Oh, gosh.
worried that he's upsetting her further.
Oh, no.
It just shows you what an emotional roller coaster they're on.
It really does. And it's a good reminder that taking care of someone also means taking care of yourself.
Yes, 100%.
Bottling up those emotions can really be detrimental in the long run.
It's not healthy.
No, not at all.
And in this story, the boyfriend seems to find comfort in sharing his experience with that Reddit community.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's so open about his struggles.
He is, and in return, he receives this outpouring of empathy and encouragement.
Oh, that's nice.
It's like they're all holding their breath together, willing her to get better.
There's something so powerful about shared vulnerability,
Yeah.
especially in the context of like these health crises.
Right.
When people share their stories,
Mm-hmm.
it creates this sense of community and
Ah.
reminds us that we're not alone in what we're going through.
It's like finding strength in numbers.
Exactly.
And in this case, that collective hope really seems to make a difference.
Do you think so?
I do, because just a few days later,
Yeah.
we get an update that feels like a collective exhale.
Oh, tell me. Tell me.
The dyskinesia has subsided.
That's amazing.
They were able to remove the ventilator tube,
Wow.
and most importantly, they were able to talk.
Oh my gosh, that's the moment we've all been waiting for.
I know, and what makes it even more special is that he gets to tell her about all the support from the Reddit community.
Oh.
Imagine the warmth and comfort she must have felt, knowing that all these strangers were rooting for her recovery.
That's so sweet. It's a true testament to the power of human connection.
I know, even when it's virtual.
Right, even online.
Those messages of support, the shared experiences,
Mhm.
they all contributed to this sense of hope and community around their journey.
It really does give you chills.
I know, it's a reminder that we all crave connection,
Yeah, especially during tough times.
especially then. And sometimes even the smallest gestures of kindness can have a huge impact.
That's so true.
It makes you wonder, what if we all approached each other with that same level of empathy and support?
What kind of world would that be?
I know, right? It's a beautiful thought.
It is.
And while we can't always control the challenges that life throws our way,
True.
we can control how we respond to them,
Yes.
how we support each other,
For sure.
and how we choose to connect.
Exactly. And in this story, that connection,
Hmm.
combined with the expert medical care,
Yeah.
seems to be like paving the way for a pretty remarkable recovery.
I agree. She passed her swallowing test, which is huge.
That's great.
And she's being moved out of the ICU
Wow.
into a regular ward.
So that's a big step towards going home.
It is, and starting the next chapter of their lives.
It's definitely a moment for celebration.
For sure.
But it's also important to remember that recovery isn't always a straight line.
Yeah, that's true.
There will be ups and downs, good days and bad days. Rehab will take time and effort, both physically and emotionally.
It's like climbing a mountain, you know.
I like that.
You celebrate reaching each base camp.
Yeah.
But you know there's still a long way to go before you reach the summit.
Exactly. And that's where resilience comes in.
Mm-hmm.
It's that ability to bounce back from the setbacks, to keep pushing forward even when things get tough.
It's not easy.
No, not at all. And it's something we see in both the patient and the boyfriend in this whole ordeal.
Yeah, they're a team,
They are.
facing each challenge together, drawing strength from each other
Yeah.
and from the community that's rallied around them.
That's amazing. It's really inspiring.
It's a testament to the power of human connection, love, and the will to overcome.
It really is. And in the final part of our deep dive, we'll explore the lasting impact of this experience.
Okay.
And we'll kind of delve into the broader implications of community support in these medical crises.
Sounds good. You know, as we get into this last part of this whole Reddit thing, what really gets me is how complex the medical world is.
Oh, yeah.
Like the boyfriend's throwing around these terms, peak number, swallowing test, extubation.
Yeah.
Like it's everyday language.
It's like a whole other language, right?
It is, and it makes you realize how much we depend on medical professionals to like guide us through these situations.
It's true. When you're facing a medical crisis, it's like you're in this totally uncharted territory,
Right.
and you have to trust these doctors and nurses who speak a language you barely understand.
Yeah. And it's not just the terms, it's the decisions they have to make.
Oh, absolutely.
The boyfriend talks about agonizing over whether to agree to a tracheotomy,
Oh, wow.
weighing the benefits against the risks.
Yeah, those are tough.
Those are some high-stakes choices, and I can't even imagine the pressure of those decisions.
It's a constant back and forth between hope and uncertainty, trust and fear.
It's scary.
It is. You're putting your loved one's life in the hands of these people you don't know,
Right.
hoping they'll make the best call.
And that's where clear communication becomes so important.
Yeah.
The boyfriend mentions how much he appreciated the doctors and nurses taking the time to explain things to him,
Yeah, that's huge.
answering his questions, addressing his concerns.
It's that human connection, that willingness to listen
Exactly.
that can make all the difference.
It really can. And you know what? You're hitting on something super important here.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Medical expertise is crucial, obviously,
Of course.
but compassion and empathy are just as vital.
100%. When patients and their families feel heard and understood,
Yeah.
it builds that trust, that foundation for a collaborative approach to healing.
And in this story, that collaborative approach seems to have been so key.
Definitely.
The boyfriend actively participates in his girlfriend's care,
Oh, that's great.
advocating for her needs, making sure her voice is heard, even when she can't speak for herself.
That's a perfect example of patient advocacy.
It really is. It's not just about accepting medical advice. It's about being part of the conversation.
Yeah, asking those questions, making informed decisions together as a team.
Exactly. And as she moves forward in her recovery,
Yeah,
that sense of agency is going to be so important.
I agree.
The boyfriend talks about the long road ahead, rehab, physical therapy,
Oh, yeah.
and all the emotional processing that comes with this kind of experience.
That's a lot.
It's like rebuilding a house after a storm.
I love that analogy.
Right. The foundation is there.
Yeah.
But there's so much work to do to get it back to how it was before.
It takes time.
It does. But throughout this whole thing,
Yeah.
There's one thing that's constant:
What's that?
the support from that online community.
Oh, that's right. They never wavered.
They celebrate every milestone, offer advice on coping mechanisms,
That's awesome.
share their own stories of resilience.
It's amazing how these virtual communities can be such a lifeline for people,
Right.
especially when they're dealing with isolation and uncertainty.
It's like having a global support group right there in your pocket.
Exactly. And in this case, it seems like it was huge for both the patient and the boyfriend.
It really helped them through this whole emotional roller coaster.
It's a good reminder that we're not meant to go through tough times alone.
No, we're not.
We all need connection, empathy, support, and sometimes
Yeah.
those lifelines can come from the most unexpected places.
Like a Reddit community.
Exactly.
Well, as we wrap up our deep dive into this incredible story,
Mhm.
I'm blown away by the resilience of the human spirit,
Me too.
the power of love, and all that modern medicine can do.
It's pretty amazing.
It really is. And I think it also shows us the impact we can have on each other's lives.
Yeah, just by being kind, offering support, and listening.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, we want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
We hope you found it insightful and inspiring.
We hope you learned something.
And if you're looking for more thought-provoking conversations about the human experience,
Like this one.
be sure to subscribe to Voices of the Soul.
That's a...
And check out the Shauna Pelage YouTube channel for more in-depth content.
We have a lot of great stuff there.
Until next time, stay curious, stay compassionate, and stay connected.